Everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are continuing on with our exploration of the disappearance of Asha Degree, and I've done a part 1 and part 2 detail opening oracle reading, so check them out. There's background information I talk about and bring us up to speed. In part 1, it's time stamped. Part 2 gives us some more insights as to what happened and what was going on behind the scenes. And now we're doing the tarot and oracle reading. And I'm doing something different, trying something new, where we're breaking up those questions that I asked. I have 10 questions, and I'm going to break it up to like anywhere between 1, 2, or 3 per video and make a playlist for Asha. Okay, so that's what we're doing here today. It's going to be a little different. Y'all let me know if you like the longer format where I timestamp the video, or you want the short videos that's covering 1 or 2 or 3 questions at most. Let me know. That'll be most appreciative if you do. All right, so we're working with the New Era Elements Tarot and my monstrous sized 160 card deck, Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. Set that to the side. So, first question, and it's a whopper. What happened to Asha? Clues on what happened. Was her life taken? I sense that it was. We saw that in the opening oracle readings. What was the motive? Cause of death. So it's really one main question, but about what happened to her, cause of death, motive. 2 of fire, 2 of wands, keyword domination. Interesting. We have the high priestess. 9 of fire, 9 of wands. A lot of exertion. Okay. What happened to her? 9 of Pentacles. Okay. What happened to her? Cause of death, if you're willing to reveal that, Spirit. Also, we have runaway, isolated. Intoxication. Somebody involved that night that may have been intoxicated. Okay. Any cause of death information. We have bank records. That goes with that 9 of Pentacles or 9 of Earth. Somebody gaining something financially as a result of doing this and keeping it quiet. Particularly keeping it quiet. Distraction or diversion. Okay. Okay. Life insurance or inheritance. What happened to her, Spirit? Motive. Father. So we've had father energy, and specifically father cards from different decks come up in parts 1 and 2. And now in part 3, father. What happened to her? Collapse or ruin. Let's stick this to the side. That came up in one of the past readings. Outside. What happened? We did touch on, in parts 1 and 2, on a potential cause of death. I do get a sense the Spirit is trying to protect us. We have baby. Spirit is trying to protect us as it relates to understanding what happened in terms of cause of her, her demise. We're getting a lot of information, though. Let me turn this. We're getting a lot of information about her disappearance, and I'm trying to get some information about her, about the motivations. Okay, so High Priestess, female energy. We've talked about that in parts 1 and 2. A young woman, it looks like, who is in the know, who has insights, who could have even orchestrated or been a part of the plan to cover up this whole thing. High Priestess is representing water elements, and in part 2's oracle reading, the submerge, and we also got elements of something causing her to feel suffocated. Okay. To feel like she's, what is it, aspiration happening is what I felt in part 2 when I was doing the reading. So, yeah, I'm getting a sense that we have here 2 of Wands, 2 of Fire. Someone had talked about wanting to do something like this 2 weeks prior to this incident. That's what gives this an element of like deviant and like really demented energy. 2 of Wands for me represents the timing of either or 2 weeks or the season of spring, early spring. I think it's tied to 2 weeks prior. And domination, someone wanting to be in control of the players involved, someone wanting to dominate over a little girl who gets off on that. That's really disturbing. We have here 9 of Fire. This is the other person's energy. They were just trying to push the finish line that night. They knew of some sort of higher plan that this other person, this key person who was involved, they knew of it. They just wanted to push through and get it done. They were very tired, very weary. This was a lot to have to manage and operate for a young person. One of the cards that came up in part 2 was young. So we have that here, just having to push through and having to do a lot more than what you were ready for, but you just see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you'll do whatever it takes to make it there and get it done. Someone also had some financial influence on this, poured money on this situation to keep things quiet. There will be financial bank records to support that. There is a lot of circumstantial evidence in the way of looking at someone's bank records around key times surrounding what happened to Asha. In part 1, in the Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle part of that reading, it came up that, there's some element of cover up, and that timeline card speaks to looking at key time things happening on the calendar. And it's like plotting it on a calendar of what happened, telling and having that tell the tale. Some cases more than others rely on a timeline. All right, all cases rely on a timeline, but sometimes that's all you have as evidence. It's a timeline. For example, when I would investigate accidents, and somebody says, I didn't hit your insured's car, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, whoa, so this person, there's, not really any witnesses. There's no real physical evidence to tie them to hitting my insured's car, my customer's car. I work for an insurance company. Don't really have anything but my insured's word and some damage to the vehicle. But what else do I have? I have access to social media records. Back then, there was no social media, but I have access to other information, bank records. I have access to information about where you were at. If cell phones were a thing, I had a cell phone back in 1999 and 2000. Pretty sure I got it in 99, my first cell phone. Could have been even 98. But I'm sensing that there is some data, some evidence, some information, some records that plots on there. And so then the correlation, then you're like, look, you were in the same spot as my insured. So now we've got you in the area. What do you say about that, defendant? What do you say about that? Oh, I was there, but I didn't see, I didn't do anything. Okay, can we inspect your vehicle? And so it begets more fact finding fact finding, but it's a different approach than like direct evidence where you have people like, yeah, that person did it. And there's the, the damage lines up with your damage. It's a little different when, you don't have much to go on. So they had to really rely on looking at timelines is what I'm getting to for you all. Runaway is interesting. Because, well, look at her. She got a little suitcase, her teddy bear. Oh, my goodness. Initially, that's how it started out, innocently enough. I want to tell you all something. When I was a little girl, I did do things like that. I didn't get very far. I went down the block. I lived in a city. I didn't get very far. I packed up my little stuff. And I related so much to Asha, and I talk about that, I think in parts 1 or 2 in the Oracle readings, where, some of us can relate. Like, there isn't something that was too terribly wrong that was happening to us, but we just wanted to see what we could do. And then we got the opportunity to what? Come back home. She should have had that opportunity to come back home, but she didn't. We have here, right here. She didn't have that opportunity. And that is a damn shame. We have here, this card came up in the past. It came up in part 1, isolated, seeing her by herself, opportune time, somebody intoxicated. The addictions card came up before in part 1 about somebody who could have been inebriated or under the influence of prescription or non-prescription, like illicit drugs, or intoxicated over power and wanting to control. I'm saying that because we've got these 2 wands cards or 2 fire cards. And so it's like, oh, this was a perfect storm, terrible storm, but like of what happened. She's walking along the road by herself. Somebody is under the influence, had been talking about doing something weird like this in the weeks prior, and then making it happen. Bank records are key. Somebody getting, some sort of financial gain with the 9 of Earth from, and also from a woman, even. A woman influence, allegedly. A fluent woman is traditionally the 9 of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. So, bank records, indicative of timestamps of where people were going, like if they had to get gas somewhere and they used their debit card or ATM card, or old school surveillance of the cameras at the gas station, corresponding with bank records. Also, it could be bank records of someone making a payment to someone to keep quiet. Consistent payments, withdrawals for a certain dollar amount at a certain time. Plot that on the calendar, on the timeline. We have distraction or diversion. What's a distraction and a diversion? Somebody distracting, trying to make it seem like she ran away because she's, I suppose it could be like, okay, we're looking in the wrong direction. I don't think so. It could be that the distraction was for so long, and we're going to talk about that in an upcoming video about red herrings, but that it could have been, she ran away because there was things really terrible at her house towards her. I don't think so. I think that's a distraction. Now, this could be also a distraction or diversion of the night of when she climbed into the vehicle. This could be about someone distracting her and not having her see the threat of this person, this yucky, unkempt, no good hygiene, yuck person doing something to her, about to do something to her, a distraction. Life insurance or inheritance. This could speak just to the monetary influences surrounding this case and happened, what derailed it for so long. But it also could be about somebody inherited this terrible legacy of, like, a family legacy of this crime has tainted the generations beyond, is what I'm picking up here. Also, it could be that there's some sort of familial connection Certainly could be a money thing, you know. So, there you go. Whew. This card keeps coming up. This card keeps coming up. Father. Collapse or ruin. Somebody, a father figure trying to avoid a collapse or ruinous situation. Okay. Father involved. Somebody who identifies as a father figure. The head of the household. A man. We know we get womanly energy influences here, but we also strongly and have been this male role, this guy here. Somebody trying to prevent collapse or ruin. Constantly trying to prevent it over the decades. This could just be clues as to outside, that she is outside, not in some, like, I suppose, you know, like she's like outside somewhere. And also outside of her home, right? Outside of her home. Trying to get it right. Okay. This came up in the past reading, arson, destruction, fire. Think about it, folks who know this case. Was there any weird fires surrounding the people who have just been named or mentioned by law enforcement in the news? Or anyone in the close vicinity, 0 to 15 kilometers around from her, where she disappeared from, where her last known location? Were there any fires? Were there any suspicious fires? Also, this could just symbolize that somebody has an arsonist background, where they've committed arson in the past, or that they destroy evidence. Baby sitting under the father card, offspring. I don't know what that could mean. You all let me know what you think this card could mean. I'm thinking just simply offspring of this father knowing of what happened to her. Look, last card, DNA evidence. DNA evidence could speak to and could totally collapse this family who's been circulating for a long time as the ones who may know something. This is what's going to cause what? Their collapse and ruin. They were protecting something. It's in their bank records, allegedly. DNA evidence also is going to crack open what law enforcement will have to be able to demonstrate, and what prosecution in a court of law has to demonstrate, is how did they arrive to that those who they are accusing caused Asha to disappear, and what is her presumed cause of death, and what may have happened to her, and DNA being a critical piece to that. But yet we still don't have a cause of death. I'm going to just try with this Divine Crime Oracle, see if anything comes up. If not, we just wait and see. It's one of those things. We have crime of passion, rage. Okay. We're not ready for the information, I assume. We're only getting bits and pieces. We got this card again. This was in part 2. And I shuffled it good between the readings. I'm going to do this again. Let me make sure. Anything else, Spirit, that you want to share before we be clear? Anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up this part? Yeah, sure doesn't have much to say. I'm just going to respect it. Oh, male child victim. That's interesting. We'll go with it. But crime of passion, rage. Talks about that with the domination. We got domineering in part 1. Oracle reading. This came up in part 2. Devil in disguise, trickster, manipulator, hiding in the shadows. This is so sick to me. We have forest path or mossy dragged her to this point. This could be where she's at outside. We got the swamp card. So I was like, is there a swamp nearby with a cave, a known cave, or somebody who knows of a cave over there? We have male child victim. Not quite sure what to make of the male child victim. Let me know what you think. The card that, you know, I don't know what to make of male child victim. Could be another victim that is related to this case. I don't know. It's weird to me. Male child victim and baby. I don't think it's with Asha. I think it's maybe somebody who had a weird relationship and a baby on the way. I don't know. That's popped in my head. I'm saying it. It's all alleged. Don't know how that ties into everything here. But that's what we'll go with. Male child victim. And then we have baby. You all let me know what you all think is up with that. So that's question number 1. And that was a big one. About, could we get some answers on what happened to her? Clues on what happened. You know, was her life taken? If so, what was the motive? We got rage. We got domination, being domineering. We only were able to scratch the surface on cause of death, but that, if you kind of piece together, it's like somebody, you know, doing something manually here with their hands. Okay. All right. We're going to stop here. Thank you so much for watching. Please, on your way out, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support is everything to me, okay? All right, friends, stay tuned. More to come as I get time in this week and next. I'm going to just be dropping little, you know, videos tackling on the questions surrounding what happened to Asha. The next one we're going to be covering is clues on who is responsible for her disappearance. Did she know the persons, and level of culpability? So it's going to be really like 2 questions. Level of culpability between the people who have been mentioned in the news recently. So you don't want to miss out on that one, because that is going to bring us up to real time of what, like, I feel like these cards, parts 1, 2, and 3, is giving us a lot of background. It does touch on the future, those past parts, but some of these questions in the tarot reading I'm doing is going to be taking us to present day, well into the future of what's to come with the investigation. All right. Take care, friends. I'll see you all around. Bye for now.